Welcome to CyberShack Live. Big show coming up today on the show. Sonos joins us to talk about the Arc. We're looking at the 3L from Alcatel. And Jeff Quattromani joins us talking about Facebook and Portal. In tech news this week, it's been talked about for a long time. Both Google and Apple have finally released out of beta their COVID-19 technology. They've said that now that the technology has been released from beta, it's been requested by 22 different countries. So look forward to countries all over the world integrating this technology into locally rolled out and locally activated applications to help with the contact tracing mechanism that we are using here in Australia. So this is going to be happening now and over the coming weeks. And so that technology from Google and Apple finally out of beta. Also in tech news, Twitter has been testing a new feature that helps you manage who is able to reply to your tweets. So you would be able to say, for example, write a tweet and flag it as replyable by anybody, anyone on Twitter at all. Or you can lock it down and say only those people that follow you, or other lockdownable features around that. I guess the idea here is that if you tweet something, you may only want people on your list of approved followers that you could potentially set from saying anything to you, because at the end of the day, maybe people are saying things nasty to you from the open Twitter sphere. I don't know. We'll see how that feature develops over the coming weeks. Also, Facebook has made some announcements about their shopping service. Many of us are shopping through the Facebook platform and Instagram platform as well. They have refined some of the areas of their Facebook platform for people running stores through it. They're not charging any extra fees yet, but they have said that these refinements, they're hoping, will lead to online merchants with them doing more in the area of paid advertising. So that's how they'll make their money, by assisting all of us to shop through Facebook approved and Instagram approved merchants on their platforms. Now on the show, let's talk about audio, because one of the kings of multi-room audio is Sonos. They've been doing amazing stuff for a number of years. Many of you have been talking about how you're excited about this next product from the guys at Sonos, the Sonos Arc, and I want to talk about this one in a little bit more detail today. And we're joined today with a very special guest, Ryan Richards. He's the Director of Product Marketing for Sonos, to take us through this product. Look, welcome to the show first and foremost, Ryan. A new soundbar from you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Charlie. Thanks. Yes, we're very excited about the Arc and to have the world take a listen to it.
Look, you guys aren't just a device company. You make multi-room audio solutions, but you're just as much about the hardware as you are supporting that hardware and providing ongoing updates and new features.
Yeah, that's right. So Sonos isn't just devices. It's also a software platform, an application, and the way that all of those speakers work together in your home to give you a full sound experience, really, in not just the living room, but all rooms of your home.
For many people, when they think of multi-room audio, they don't talk about multi-room audio. They say, I'm going to get a Sonos, right? They're not going to get a whole home audio solution. For you guys, is that because you're the earliest, you're the most innovative, you've got the widest reach? Where does that sort of understanding of your brand as the actual solution, where do you think that actually comes from?
Yeah, I think part of it comes from being very early to the market, but we weren't the very first multi-room audio solution. I think the reason why you see that ubiquity is that we really have a focus on being very easy to use, being really transparent for the customer. I think that was not just being early in the market, but really focusing on those things, not focusing so much on having the technology in your face, but trying to create something that was really easy for people to use and to integrate into their home. Multi-room audio has been a thing for actually a long time in some form or another. But really, our mission was to make that something that was accessible to everybody.
The interesting thing with what you're doing now, SONOS Arc, a new sound bar, it's a Dolby Atmos soundbar, which, if anyone who hasn't actually heard Dolby Atmos before, you must listen to it. You must make sure your next soundbar has Dolby Atmos. It is a sensational feature to include. Tell me about the Arc, and tell me about the importance of adding a feature like Dolby Atmos to it.
Sure. So Arc is our new premium soundbar. It is extremely powerful piece of audio equipment. It has 11 drivers, so that's 8 regular drivers, 3 mid drivers, that is 3 tweeters. 2 of those 8 drivers are the upward firing ones that deliver the vertical Atmos soundstage. And a little bit about Atmos. So, at Sonos, and especially with a product like the Arc, our goal is to deliver the best sound for all the content that you're listening to. So whether that is a podcast, whether it's simply stereo music, all the way up to a cinematic experience that you would get with an Atmos, you get with Atmos content. So our goal is for all of that to sound incredible. And what really interested us about Atmos was that that's a way a lot of creators are making film and video content now. If you look at newer content that's mastered for the theater or mastered for Netflix or these other streaming services, more and more of it is in Atmos, and it's created that way. So really the best way to experience it, we believe, in your home is the way that the artist intended it to be experienced. And in a lot of cases now with new video content, that is with Atmos. And we take a lot of care to make sure that we are providing an authentic experience there. One of the things that we do during the product development process, really is an ongoing task, is we work with a board of artists, musicians, producers, and sound engineers. We call them our soundboard. And they're a group of industry professionals that help us tune these speakers really by just listening to their own content and getting feedback on how it sounds. And so partnering with them to ensure that you're getting the most accurate experience in your home based on what they engineered the content to sound like is really important for us. And Atmos is a piece of that, absolutely.
So with this soundbar, with the Arc, it's coming out on June 10 here in Australia. It's going to be $13.99. You can pre-order at sonos.com, but that's not all the questions I've got for you on the soundbar. You being a multi-room solution, is this a product that we can just buy on its own and put it in our home, or are we really wanting to integrate this into a wider Sonos solution in our home? I guess my question really is about on its own, will we get a great experience, or do we need to sort of add that wider ecosystem to our home to get the most from it?
Yeah, our goal with any product is to make the product itself a standalone fantastic solution. So if you buy an Arc and you install it on your TV, you're going to have a great sound experience for your living room. Now, there's a number of different ways that being Sonos that we enhance that. First of all, we're one of the few companies that gives you the option of modularly expanding your home theater setup. So you can just have an Arc. You can also add our wireless subwoofer as an option, and then of course you can also add 2 other Sonos speakers as rears behind you to get a full acoustic surround experience. But like you said, Arc is part of something bigger. So it isn't just that you can just have an Arc in your living room, and that's a fantastic experience. And I think that if you're in the market for just a soundbar, Arc is a great solution for you. But unlike a lot of soundbars, it's kind of like that's just the sound for your TV, and then that's all you've got. With Sonos, you buy the Arc today. 6 months from now, if you want a speaker for your kitchen, you buy a Sonos speaker. You can group those speakers together, and then all of a sudden you're getting your TV sound in your kitchen. I do this all the time. you're watching sports, you're watching a movie, you or your partner wants to go in the kitchen and do some cooking, you're not missing anything because you group them together. Then all of a sudden your TV sound is in the kitchen. Now, so having just the Arc doesn't detract from any sort of experience in your living room, but you always have that option to expand your system and get more over time. And I think that's the real benefit with Sonos. It's not that, I've heard that before, that people think, to really get the advantage of Sonos, I have to fill my house with them. And I don't think I don't really think that's true. I think the advantage is you get the solution that you feel is tailor-sized for what you want.
At the heart of it, it is always going to be about the sound, right? And you guys do spend a lot of time and a lot of energy really refining that, and it is important. And it's a good understanding to have, to know where that all comes from, and to have that sort of board of musical experts who are listening and helping you to refine. Because at the end of the day, if you're just a bunch of engineers sitting around trying to make good sound, you don't really know how to tweak things for the different applications that the sound is supporting, right? And this has been in the fabric of Sonos ever since the beginning, as I understand it.
Yeah, that's right. I think, there's really three pieces to Sonos's sound approach that I would probably highlight. One of them is the soundboard that I already touched on. The first, of course, is just making really high quality components and sonic devices. So we custom build all of our own drivers, all of our own enclosures. We take a lot of care in the actual nuts and bolts and the numbers of sonic engineering. But kind of like you said, sound and especially art is a human medium. And so you can't really get all the way there. You can't get to great sound just with measurements and just with numbers. You really need that human feedback. And we get that from the creators, from them telling us, hey, I actually thought, a good example is that we have a story when our team was playing Arc for Chris Jenkins, who is a Academy Award winning sound engineer. And he did the sound on Mad Max Fury Road. And when we played back Mad Max for him, he kind of sat there and he said, that sound, it's kind of like right now it's going from the middle front to the middle back. It should actually be kind of going to the middle right. And it's those little pieces of feedback. It's impossible for us to just engineer that, sort of looking at the nuts and bolts. You really need the creator to tell you those sort of things. And then the final thing that we do that's a little different is that the kind of sound experience you get is extremely dependent on your space, on what your living room is like, on where you put your speaker. And so there's only so much we can do with creators or do at the factory or when we're engineering it to make the sound as good as possible. But when it gets into your home, there's a lot out of our control. So what we do is we actually have a technology you might already be familiar with called TruePlay. And that is the ability to take a Sonos product and use your iOS device, the microphones in your iOS device, and actually custom tune it for the room that you place it in. And while we think, and every Sonos product does sound great coming from the factory, it is that little kind of last step that really customizes that sound for your room and your space. And it's even more impactful with something like Dolby Atmos, because not only that, you have a regular kind of horizontal sound stage of traditional surround sound, but you have that vertical sound stage where drivers need to fire sound up, it needs to bounce off of a ceiling. And so the height of that ceiling and how loud those vertical firing drivers need to be are actually really important variables into getting a good Atmos experience. So for us, being able to use something like TruePlay to understand the dimensions and acoustics of the room that the product is in can really help kind of push the sound experience that extra mile.
When we look at the integration of the software and the software features with Arc, we're looking at things such as Amazon Alexa, Google Assistant. You've got Apple AirPlay 2 in there as well. And no doubt, and we've sort of briefly discussed this, in the future there'll be other things that you want the Sonos experience in your home to provide and to attach. And this is a good thing, adding those features, but I guess now that you've been around so long, there is that legacy issue that you're now starting to come to having to deal with, I suppose, because you've got a lot of loyal customers who have got products. Your products actually last a long time and sound good for a long time. I mean, we got like one of your first Sonos speakers here that sounds as good today as it always did. You're running into this legacy issue. You've built a way of managing that. Can you just talk to me about how you're managing legacy across your speakers and what the plan is moving forward from here?
Sure. So, like you mentioned, and we even mentioned at the top of the show, we've been doing this for a long time, longer than a lot of other companies. And what we are doing with products like Arc is we are adding a lot of innovation. Dolby Atmos is a good example of one of those things, but there's a lot else too. And some of our very oldest products, because Sonos is a system, can't all keep pace with that innovation. They're on old computing platforms. They have less memory than, say, you'd be surprised. Some of these products were released in 2005 and times like that. So what we have done that I think is that I think it was the right thing to do is we've created a new application and software and software operating system that we call S2, and that powers all of the new products. So Arc and also the new Sub and the new 5 that we announced at the same time as Arc, they all run exclusively on this new Sonos S2 app and software. And all of our other modern products will work on that software too. Now, those very oldest legacy products that you mentioned, those products will continue to work on our current software, which will be renamed S1. And so customers who have older products, they will be able to continue to use the software in S1 through the future. And then, so that way they can maintain the current experience that they have today, that's supported today, but then the modern products and the current products can go forward in the S2 app. And then using S2, we will add those future innovations into S2, like you mentioned before.
And will they still sort of be part of that same network? Will the legacy ones, can I, if I want to listen to a song, can I have an old legacy, the original one from 2005, for example? Can I have that playing the song at the same time, the Arc, for example, or are they going to be on separate networks?
So the S1 and S2 products will be on separate networks. So if you have, okay. I mean, networks is maybe not the right way to put it. They'll still be like on your same home Wi-Fi network, but they will operate as separate systems. And we're going to have quite a bit of information detailing that on June 8th when we launch the S2 software.
Okay, very good. All right, good to see innovation that is going on from the world of Sonos. I mean, they've been making great sound for a number of years. The Sonos Arc is the new soundbar. Dolby Atmos is one of the key features. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there as well. We don't have time to go into all that today, but June 10 it comes out. It's going to be, you can pre-order it now through sonos.com. It's $13.99. But for local retailers here in Australia, it is Harvey Norman and JB Hi-Fi. They're obviously the two biggest. They're the places to go and have a look at there. More details are on the sonos.com website. But always good to have a chat with the guys at Sonos. Ryan Richards, thank you for joining us today and taking through the Arc, a great piece of kit for your lounge room.
Thank you, Charlie.
Home security is a big issue for many property owners and tenants. With the recent improvements in security tech, it's never been easier to add a surveillance camera to your home. United's new Wi-Fi security cameras, the Guardian App Cam Solo PT Kit, is an innovative new device that enables you to secure an area without running wires through walls. The camera uses an inbuilt pan and tilt mechanism, offering a wider field of view for the secured area. This also means that for larger areas you want to secure, you don't need as many cameras to cover the area. Including a rechargeable battery, the camera comes with a solar panel to provide it with electricity throughout the day and even into the night. Like other small security cameras, the video from the camera can be viewed with Google Assistant and Alexa devices, while the smartphone app provides alerts when movement is detected. There's also two-way communication, thanks to a speaker and microphone built into the camera, ideal for talking to someone at the door, like a visitor or when you're expecting a delivery and you want to give further instructions. With free 7-day cloud backup storing of up to 1 gigabyte of videos and onboard micro SD storage, you can easily download footage from the camera in case of an emergency without paying an annual fee. If you need more storage, paid plans are available with increasing levels of storage and camera support.
Well, let's look at mobile phone technology now. There's a brand new handset out from Alcatel branded. It's called the 3L, and it is selling in Australia sub $199. Sorry, sub $200. It's $199. And I got to say, it's a pretty nice piece of kit for that price. I thought we'd have a chat with Sam Skontos. He's the Regional Managing Director for TCL Communications to talk more about the Alcatel 3L. How are you, Sam?
I'm well, thanks. How are you doing, Charlie?
I'm good. I got to say, this is your best sub $200 handset of all time.
Yes, I will not disagree with you. So far, we've done a fantastic job in bringing out great value products, probably sub $100, and we've tried to then move up the value chain. And in terms of, we've tried before to get into the $199 and $179 space, but this time we've got the most amazing, best valued product at $199.
The interesting thing is you've got a number of features on here that I'd expect on a more expensive handset. You've got 3 cameras on the back. You've got fingerprint scanner. You've got what else can we see here? I like that you've kept the 3.5mm audio jack. Well done for that one, pushing against the stream, so to speak. But it also feels good in your hand, and it's very snappy as well when you're flipping through the apps. It doesn't feel like a cheap phone.
Yeah, no, I think you're 100% right. I mean, the screens are fairly significant, 6.22-inch HD plus, so you're getting a very, very good resolution screen. And then, of course, you've got the triple camera in the back, which gives you the bokeh effect, the macro zoom, and all the features that you normally expect at the high-end phones. It feels great, and one of the things that I like to look at when I'm looking at a phone is all the human interfaces. The screen's got to be good for my eyes, the audio's got to be great for my hearing, and it's got to have really good smooth scrolling, etc. And I think we've hit the nail on the head with the 3L. I think we cater for all of those human interfaces, and the most important thing is it's a great price and it's an affordable price.
You got 4,000 milliamp hour battery. You got Android 10. I mean, you really have got the main inclusions in there, right? It doesn't feel like you've actually gone, okay, well, we're going to keep this, but we're going to get rid of that because we're trying to hit that price point. Now, we do need to declare that at $199, it's being sold through Vodafone, the retail guys, and it is locked to their network. So that's Vodafone and their resellers that it will work on. But even then, you're doing a deal where you're giving some Vodafone credit, $40 of Vodafone credit when you buy it. So that's even more value. So you can no doubt negotiate with them about, well, not negotiate, but have a conversation with them about what plan that this could go on and how you apply that credit. So you're trying to provide this handset even lower than that $199 price because of the credit, really, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the net value of the phone, and that's after taking into consideration all the credits and everything that Vodafone's giving away, it becomes even better value than the $199. So really, the reality is that you're getting a very, very good phone with amazing features that you normally expect on $1,000 devices and above, but for below $199 as a net effect. And for us, Vodafone's a very, very, very good customer, a very strong partner. We partner with Vodafone globally, so we have a very strong relationship with Vodafone, as we do with all the carriers. So it's important to us to make sure that the offers are really, really hot to match up with a hot device.
You've got a couple of things that you really focused on. I mean, the thing that we noticed is twofold: the screen and the camera, right? So let's talk about the screen first. The resolution that you've got, you've really built it for mobility and entertainment consumption on the go.
Yeah, look, one of the things that we've done differently with this particular roadmap that we're launching this year, and I may say that we're going to have another 3 devices that are going to launch soon, and potentially another 4 to 5 TCL devices that we're going to launch this year. And what's been different is the fact that we are now using our own display. So we are part of a large consumer electronics company called TCL, who are #1 in TVs in the US and #2 globally by volume in TVs. And we've got in-house our own company that manufactures panels for the TVs and now manufacturing displays for our mobile phones. And we've got some amazing technology in-house that we're starting to use. And that's why some of the displays you're going to see, even on these low-end devices, which I guess, at $199, some may argue whether how low-end it is, but nonetheless, some of these devices are going to have amazing displays because we're able to use our own technology. From a camera perspective, we know that's the trend. And, people are coming out with 100 megapixel cameras and amazing zoom cameras and macros and so forth. What we're saying is just because you're paying $199 should not mean that you're getting a really substandard camera or camera array. And in this case, we got a triple camera with a super wide angle, bokeh, macro, everything that you normally would expect on devices greater than $1,000. So who's it cater for? It caters for the young generation. It caters for people that are just coming into the market, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds. It caters for people that want a decent phone without breaking the bank. And let's face it, under these difficult conditions we're all living in today due to COVID-19, I think a lot of people will be looking at saving money. A lot of people will be looking at, look, I do want to get a new phone. I do want to have the latest and greatest features, but I am not sure about spending $1,000 and above. And this is where the 3L is perfect.
Yeah, it is becoming harder to justify that kind of investment these days as well. The other thing, real quick before we finish, is 6.22-inch HD plus display. It's not a small handset, is it? You're not really missing out on screen real estate with this one. You're pretty much getting it all packaged in, and you've got a great entertainment device, a great phone, and still have money left in your pocket, correct?
Yeah, look, what we tried to do with the phone is, obviously from a design standpoint, is tried to minimize the bezels. Why do we do that? Well, we want to maximize the viewing area and reduce the amount of dead space, which is usually the case with bezels. And I think we've done a really, really good job, even to the stage where we've got a little small notch at the front where the selfie camera is. So therefore, we're not impeding too much on the viewing space and the viewing real estate. And that's important because if we want this to be a multimedia device or an entertainment device, we've got to make sure that we maximize the viewing space and the viewing real estate. But at the same time, like you rightly pointed out, the 3.5mm jack is super important for getting that really good quality audio out there, streaming through Bluetooth devices. And I think, again, for $199, you've got one hell of great value in that package.
Good to have a chat to you, Sam. It's the Alcatel 3L. You can get it through Vodafone, $199 plus a $40 credit. We'll have more details on cybershack.com. Sam, thanks for your time today.
Thanks very much, Charlie. A pleasure.
How good would it be to say goodbye to ironing and dry cleaners and hello to effortlessly straightened and refreshed clothing? Meet the new Samsung hairdresser that does just that. The hairdresser is a smart closet cross steamer that can refresh your clothes with its jet air system to loosen dust or remove odors inside or outside your garments. It doesn't only work with clothes that need a light treatment. You can use it to refresh most dry clean only garments like woolens, suits, or to refresh or reduce the need to iron tops, shirts, or dresses effectively. Don't worry about any damage or shrinkage thanks to its heat pump drying. It dries clothes at low temperatures, so it doesn't risk any delicate or soaked through garments, as it uses cooler temperatures to dry clothes gently and quickly. The Samsung hairdresser is more efficient than traditional washing machines. mainly when cleaning fewer items at a time. It uses less water and electricity and is more gentle on delicate fabrics too.
Now let's look at the latest technology in staying in touch. Facebook has got a product which is called Portal, and it's got a lot of benefits to it. Some are concerned about the idea of having a Facebook camera and microphone sitting in their home. Let's talk about all of that. Jeff Quattromani, friend of the show, tech expert, joins us. How are you, Jeff?
I'm really well, Charlie. How are you?
I'm well. I'm not sure about putting extra Facebook audio camera collecting stuff in my home, though. Tell me about the Portal and where they're up to.
Look, I think during these times where some of us are still in isolation, and especially in the past where we're all sitting at home trying to find different ways to interact with one another, video calling has to be one of the best ways to keep in touch. And Facebook decided to have some products ready to go well before this actually happened. And I've been testing one. It's called, this one here is the Portal TV. Now, it actually looks like a webcam that sits on top of your television. And you can actually put it in front if you like as well. But this now enables me to have Facebook video calls or even WhatsApp video calls with friends and family. And it's just been a great way to keep in touch from the couch.
Look, any hardware that makes this easier is obviously beneficial. I do like the idea of something like this, mainly because I can unplug it immediately after I've used it. Is it easy to plug in, start, unplug when you're finished? Is that a user scenario?
Absolutely. I actually feel that this is the kind of thing you would want to give your parents or grandparents, because it enables them just to sit down on the couch. You can use a remote control for the one that's connected to the TV. If you have got one of the frame devices that they also sell, it's just the simplest way to connect. You can see their faces on the screen, you click on their name, and it opens up a call with them. For me, having multiple parties join that call as well, simple split screen, I can see everybody on the call and have a really nice conversation. And actually, the performance was fantastic as well, better than I would have experienced by doing a messenger call in other ways.
When we purchase hardware like this, we're looking for things such as directional microphone and the ability to reduce any background echoes, for example, that kind of stuff that makes the audio experience smoother. Did you notice that when you were using it?
Yeah, completely. Even on a poorer internet connection, I found that these Portal devices worked better than if you did a call from, say, your mobile. I will say, though, that the cameras are quite smart in that they will detect who is talking and they can actually pan and zoom onto that person. So if somebody walks into the room, that immediately they start to be seen better on camera and actually followed around a little bit. So if you're in your living room having a Facebook video call, you could still be moving about and still be seen front and center on screen.
I guess the concern is always going to be that bigger Facebook concern about what you talk about on the call, then showing up as a Facebook ad later that day or an Instagram ad or in that respect. Look, has there been any discussion, any thoughts on that one while you're using it?
Look, not for me. I know that on the actual calls themselves, you're usually talking about how bored you are at home, what wine you're drinking, what holiday you're planning after this is all over. And I think I'm probably Googling those things anyway. So that's probably why it is showing up in my feed. But no, to be honest, the security in this has been in some ways a little bit impressive because all the devices also have a physical hardware switch on them that enables you to silence or completely almost turn off the device. So it's no longer listening, no longer watching as well. So you have got some hardware controls which will actually override any sort of concerns that you have about the software listening in on what you're doing day to day.
All right. Sounds like an interesting piece of kit. As we come out of the lockdown, will it be as popular? I reckon it will. I reckon people are going to keep videoing. I've got a lot of people who are saying to me, don't come see me. It's nothing personal, but don't come see me. I will just chat to you on video conferences a lot easier. So these kinds of devices, and we'll keep looking at other devices. This one's an example. Are no doubt going to be part of our home fabric in the months and years ahead. Jeff Quattromani, friend of the show, thanks for taking some time to talk to us today.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thanks for your questions through Facebook and the email as well. Leo has been asking about changing his laptop from a 2 terabyte regular hard drive to a 256 gig SSD. Wants to know whether he can actually just copy the files over to the new drive and all the software will come with it. No, you have to mirror that original hard drive onto the new one, and you have to go and get some software to do that, and it really, you just do a couple of little tweaks to make sure that that software instance will go from, or that hard drive instance rather, would go from the 2 terabyte, you got to shorten it back onto the 256 gigabyte SSD. It is, you can do it. It's not too hard once you get the software to help you to do it. And at the end of the day, you get a brand new SSD laptop performance with your device, which is much, much better. So good luck with that one. Joanne has asked about advertising on the internet, says that the advertising is slowing her pages down. Yes, it does. It does slow the pages down a little bit. Wants to know whether something like DuckDuckGo will, as a browser, assist Joanne to have pages load faster and reduce the amount of tracking that's going on. Well, DuckDuckGo is a great example of a browser which focuses on privacy. So give that one a go. You'll no doubt have a good experience with that one. But that is one of the things about it. It does restrict the amount of sharing that the website can do of your browsing performance and your browsing behavior. Okay, so give that one a go. DuckDuckGo, it's been around for years, works pretty well. I had a go of it myself a number of times as well. That's all we've got time on the show this week. Make sure you hit some more questions in the comments. We'll get them through the week, and visit our website, cybershack.com, as well for more tech news and videos. Thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you next time for CyberShack Live.